So this doesn't happen for anything or for any deeper reason. And what I do apparently is just this apparent pointing to that this is whole and complete already. And there's absolutely nothing to gain or to achieve. It's just, there isn't anything to achieve. And this whole idea that there is something to achieve is part of a dream. That life is about something, that there is something deeper going on that we don't see or that we don't experience. This is part of a dream. And the dream is, I am, I exist. The sense to be something that is now here, something that's aware of itself. This is what I would call the illusion. And I'd say it's the only illusion. There is no other illusion than I'm here. I'm a separate entity that has an experience of itself, so to speak. And all ideas about becoming something, about finding something deeper, about finding the purpose of life or the meaning of life or becoming an enlightened person or a fulfilled person, so to speak, all those ideas only happen within that illusion. Those ideas only happen for this illusion of self-awareness. I'm a self that's aware. I have a conscious experience of myself and a separate world. And there's nothing wrong with that, but what seems to be part of that experience to be someone is this sense of lack, as if something is missing, as if what I'm aware of now is just not fulfilling, as if it's not everything and as if it's not fulfilling. So that's where the seeking comes from, the seeking for more peace, more love, more clarity, more fulfillment, or less me, less struggle, less problems, less unclarity, or whatever. This is all part of the dream. So what this points to is basically that there's no one there in the first place. This I, which assumes itself to be separate, which assumes that something is missing, this I isn't real. This I doesn't have any substance. So no one has lost anything, no one needs to find something, no one needs to become aware of another or deeper reality. It's all just part of a dream. This is all there is. It's this. This is the natural reality, and it's whole and complete already. For no one, of course, but who cares? I mean, there's no one there in the first place. And what we talk about, or what this points to, basically is that what happens, or what seems to be happening, is everything. And when I say it's everything, I mean it in a sense that it's whole and complete. There is no hidden reality like a meaning or purpose, or there is no absolute reality where this is coming from, or a source or something. No, this is everything. What happens, what seems to be happening, is just everything. It's itself, one could say. Sitting is itself, and sitting in a room is itself. So that's all there is. The other thing that we talk about, or the other thing that this points to, is that there is no separate entity. There is no experiencer. This sense to be something on its own, me, some kind of entity, this impression is completely illusory. There isn't anyone. That's what's meant when I say that there is no one. There is no me, there is no one. It refers to this artificial sense of presence. It doesn't exist. And all ideas about finding something deeper, all ideas that life has a purpose, or that there is a goal in life, or that this event has a goal, or that it's somewhere leading somewhere, this whole impression is part of that dream. So basically the dream is, I'm now here, I'm experiencing this, something is missing, and I'm on a path towards the actual thing. This whole bundle, so to speak, is the illusion. It all goes together. I'm separate, I'm now here, I'm on a path, something's missing. Fulfillment will still come, for me, hopefully, of course. But that's the dream. And in the story one could say liberation. I know it's a weird word anyway, but liberation in that sense would just be the collapse of that impression to be a separate entity. It's not a realization, it's not an understanding, it's not another experience. It's just the collapse of the illusion of experiencing. And what's left, apparently, one could say, is just what happens. It's sitting in a room, it's breathing, it's thinking, it's feeling, it's the room, or whatever seems to be happening. And it's naturally whole and complete, but it's also ordinary and empty and meaningless. That's the natural reality. It's just this. There's no achievement, there is no one arriving in that, there is no one awaking to the natural reality or something. Just the collapse of the illusion of separation. What we talk about isn't wanted. The person can't wish for that or long for that. It's impossible. And when it says something, I want the knee to drop or so, it's just thinking about some story, what it thinks that means, but it can't want that. It doesn't matter, it happens anyway, but but of course, as long as there is the sense of me, the person will constantly look out in the world and find proof for its impression, because its impression is projected onto everything. But an aging body, so to speak, doesn't prove that there is time. It would only be the person mirroring itself in that and saying, oh, see, there is something happening. But the aging body itself has no experience of time, of something that really happens. So it's all a projection of the person, in that sense. So how it is, how it really is, will never be known or experienced. It's impossible. It will never be realized. There will never be a sense of wholeness, how it really is, a sense of timelessness, a sense of there being no purpose or no meaning. It doesn't need to be realized. And of course the person hopes, I need to realize that nothing has a meaning. I need to realize that there is no time. I need to realize that I don't exist. But this won't happen. It's not the suggestion here that anyone should realize anything. This what we talk about is absolutely unrealized by already being the case, so to speak. This already is timeless. This already doesn't have any value or meaning or purpose. And if anyone thinks how meaningful this meeting is, it is meaningless. Thinking that it is meaningful or not, it doesn't matter. There is no real difference. That's the thing. That's part of the dream, the hope, the need that something has to be different, and that something can be or will be different. As an experience, as something that I can know, where I can be totally sure of that this has changed, and that's why I know now that it's good.
It's not going to happen.
And it's not going to happen. No. It's impossible.
And something has to be fixed.
There isn't something that has to be fixed. There isn't something that is real.
That's right.
So you can't have a real change.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Though this seems to constantly change, that's apparent. And this sense, this experience to wait for when will it really be different. That's the illusion. That's part of the dream. It will never be really different. There will never be this moment when I have become someone who has arrived. In contrast to before, when I was really seeking. In a way, that's the person's problem. That nothing, that no matter what happens, it doesn't do anything with itself. Nothing brings about this change that the person is looking for. So I can't come up with something and say that's the difference. That's what makes me liberated and you not. It's a dream. I'm not different. There's nothing here that experiences itself to be different from what's going on there. And what this points to, or what we talk about basically, is that what happens is naturally whole and complete already. What seems to be happening is everything in that sense, that it's whole and complete, and that the impression that there is a separate person, the impression that there is some kind of a separate entity, that we are someone or something, a presence, an awareness, a soul, that there is a core within us, something that we really are, that this is just an illusion. There isn't anyone. That's what's meant when I say that there isn't anyone. There is nothing that experiences itself to exist, so to speak. That's the dream. I'm aware of my presence. That is the illusion, and it's the only illusion, so to speak. And the whole seeking drive, the whole drive to find something deeper in life, to find something deeper in the world, a meaning or a purpose or some kind of fulfillment or true love, true freedom, whatever, something that's not experienced yet but is supposed to be there somewhere. This impression is part of that illusion. This whole drive to seek for more is part of the dream, that there is a separate entity in the first place, that I am someone. It just seems to be the case that the sense to be present is automatically combined with the sense of unfulfillment. They just go together, for no real reason, to be honest. Not because there really is something lacking, not because there really is something more to be found. It's just how it seems to feel. They just seem to go together. I'm here, I'm experiencing myself, and something seems to be missing, or this underlying impression that there has to be more to this. There has to be more to my life, there has to be more to what I'm aware of, there has to be something deeper, or that's all part of the same dream. And what the person is usually busy with, and what most people think that life is about, is to somehow achieve this or find this deeper thing, or achieve a state of more peace, more love, more joy, more clarity, whatever. And usually people are just busy in finding or creating that. And they believe that they have tools, like to earn a lot of money, or to be in a relationship, or to be in a lovely relationship, or to live an adventurous life, or to seek insight. That's to become spiritual and seek for joy, for this deeper thing inside. And for most people, that's just what their life is about. How should I be? What should I do? Where am I supposed to throw my attention at, so to speak? Shall I think about life? Should I take care of my feelings, what I feel? Always in order to find this deeper state, this deeper thing, which the hope is that it fulfills me, that it turns me into a fulfilled me. And so that's what most people's lives are about. And that's where there's those many ideas come from, how to be. They all come from the person. What we talk about here, or what this points to, is that this impression that there is a separate entity in the first place is illusory. That there is someone here who lacks something, or who still needs to find something, is just a dream. There is absolutely nothing missing here. There's absolutely nothing wrong with sitting in a room for no reason. There's nothing to find or nothing to achieve. And in a way, one could say the only problem, it's an apparent problem, but the only problem is this attempt to find something, or to look for something, or to find something. So there isn't anyone. This I is illusory already. There's no step to be taken. This is not a teaching. We won't move on together on our path today. We can't. There is no one. This is it. This is the natural reality. This is how wholeness feels, how wholeness looks like. This is what wholeness thinks. It's this. It will never be more. There will never be a moment in time when it will feel more complete or more whole than now. It's impossible. This is whole and complete already. It can't become more whole. Impossible. It's an impossibility. So, that's it.
Thanks for the meeting.
Yeah, I said it all. No. I mean, what we talk about here is not an experience of that. So this is not observed. What we talk about here is not experienced or observed. So the observer is still the me, kind of. And there just is no answer to that. So as long as there is this observer or the sense of me, there will be some kind of seeking, no matter what's observed or understood or seen or what seems to have become obvious, because the person can't use its insights, because all that's being understood or seen is already not personal. So the idea, hey, I understood something and I should be able to live according to my understanding. No, it's impossible, of course. So, yeah. But there's no observer of what we talk about here. The observer is the other coin of the doer, so to speak. The person is both the doer, but also the observer, the creator and the victim, so to speak. The observer is the victim, basically. It's only nice to be the observer when what is observed is good. Then. So liberation has nothing to do with becoming aware of how it is, or seeing the truth, or seeing that there is no one, or stuff like that. This is what we talk about here, will never be realized by anyone or by anything. So it's exactly this waiting for the moment when I see it, the moment when wholeness has become my conscious experience. That's waiting for something that will never happen. And it doesn't have to happen. That's the surprise. That's the freedom in the end. But it's a very unexpected scene from the person whose whole efforts, its all life, is about seeing it, becoming aware of that everything's good, that goodness has become my experience. But it's not needed, and it was never needed. It's just an illusion. The person just can go on its whole life, just living its life, thinking, but I still need to find something, but I still need to find something, but life was just fine 40, 50, 60 years. There was only this idea, but I still need to become. It was never needed. It's a dream. The problem is that we don't even talk about two different kind of experiences. So what this points out apparently is that experiencing itself is illusory. The problem for the person is that it can only think in terms of experiencing. So whatever I say, what liberation is, it will somehow think it must be another experience. But actually it's the turning out that experiencing itself is illusory. But the person itself is experiencing. I'm aware and I'm experiencing something. I'm aware of myself and I'm experiencing this room and my feelings and my thoughts. And that's all the person has. So when it thinks about fulfillment, the only conclusion it can come to is it must be another experience. The present experience isn't fulfilling, but all I can do is to experience. That's my life, to be there and be aware of things. So, and what this points to is that this setup is illusory. And when I say liberation is when the dream collapses, the person immediately will turn it into another thing that happens that it will be aware of. But I can't describe what the collapse of experiencing is exactly because it's not an experience anymore. And in that sense, it's really two completely different things. And that's also why experiences are not a part of a path. That's also what the person thinks, that experiences, me being there, is leading up to something. And that my experiences are that path. Every moment is another experience, is my path towards the actual thing. It never is. It never is part of a path. That exactly is the dream. That I'm someone, that I'm having experiences, every moment a new one or a next one, and that those experiences make my life, my path towards the actual thing. There never is an actual thing. There never is the one experience that is the right one. This one experience which will be the fulfilling one. That's impossible. And in that sense, there is no connection. There's absolutely no connection. In that sense, it's something completely different what we talk about here. And that's why there is also no connection to all teachers who teach a path or experiences. It's not kind of a formal level or another. It's just something completely different. One is happening in the dream, and this isn't really out of the dream in terms of better or more real. It's just blowing up this whole narrative and doesn't leave anything. Doesn't leave the better experience. This doesn't say this is wrong and listen to me, this is right, I can give it to you. Just, yeah, as I said, blowing up this whole game. For no reason at all. Not to create or install more wholeness. Because it never knows really, that's the thing. In experiencing, of course, there is this huge promise. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next moment will bring about what I'm looking for. And you can't answer that with knowledge. The person can't talk to itself, well, yeah, I understood experiences will not fulfill me. Yeah, but maybe, who knows? Maybe next moment I will become enlightened. Who can prove the opposite? So that's also why the person can't really want this. And as I said, you can't just test it out to be no one for 3 hours and then decide to come back. No. So the person has absolutely, if there would be a person, and the person would have the possibility to choose, it has no reason to choose that actually. It would always say, yeah, well, one more day. Why should I die now? Maybe I'll have a nice evening. Maybe I meet the dream partner tonight. Who knows? And you can't argue with that. There isn't another truth, in a way, that can intellectually argue with them. Because in death, there is nothing on offer. It's not that I somehow suggest that it's a more happy state to be in when there is no one. So, yeah. Yeah. In that sense, the me has no, as you said, no reason to choose its absence. I mean, it can't anyways, but it doesn't make sense even for the person. It's not what it wants. What the person is looking for is to be there and have the possibility to become fulfilled. And apparently every moment offers that possibility. Maybe. Well, the thing is that nihilism is just a standpoint. It's just a person saying no to everything, so to speak, and hoping to get some kind of, I don't know, it's weird, but to get some kind of, I'm lacking the word now, fulfillment out of that position. It gives a position of strength, of power, of that's how it feels. No, this is but it feels terribly depressing. Or this message isn't really saying no to a lot of things. In a way, it's saying no to things that don't exist in the first place. But in another way, there's an absolute yes, not for someone, not from an outside instance, but there's an absolute yes to what actually happens. Namely, sitting in a room. Namely, this. There's not a denial of this. There's just not denial is the wrong word, it's just pointing out that the experience of this from a separate position and all the dreams and hopes are illusory. So it's not even denying that there is no enlightenment, there just is no enlightenment. But what's absolutely pointed out to be all there is this. This is all there is. And this is the natural reality. And there is nothing that says no to this. So it's completely different to nihilism. It's actually not denying anything really. It's saying inherently yes to this. It's a total confirmation of this being all there is, but not as an experience, but as wholeness, as the inexperienceable natural reality. It's only the me, so to speak, that hears a lot of no's. Yes, it's not interested in what is, it's interested in, yeah, okay, this is all there is, nice, but how can I be enlightened, please? And no, there is no one. There is no one unenlightened. That's why the me hears constantly no, but this doesn't say no really to anything. So it's completely different to nihilism. But I understand that it's quite easy to think that it is then, and that this is what I'm teaching, so to speak.
No, I wasn't.
No, you wasn't thinking that, but I read it sometimes. People comment on YouTube and that's pure nihilism. That's why it's timeless. And there is no coming and going, and no being, and no birth and death, and nothing in between. Of course. This is the only thing that has that impression is self-awareness, the me. It's timeless. This doesn't even happen now.
So timeless and eternal are very different.
Timeless and eternal are totally different. And the person, without a personal story, feels eternal. The sense of existence, I am, something exists. Or the person, when the person wants to make it totally impersonal, it just inquires inside. There is something, I don't know what it is, but it is. And that feels eternal. But it's just another experience. That happens now here, by the way. It never happens in 500,000 years, it happens now. But it feels eternal.
Yeah.
This is not eternal, it's timeless. But of course, it's a story that there is something like liberation. I mean, what this points to kind of is that everything is already completely free to be itself. So 20 people sitting in a room is absolutely free to be exactly itself. There is no controller of this, no observer of this, no separate instance that is trying to put it in form, that says no to anything. It's already free. It's not a state that I'm in, or that anything or anyone is in. It's just the natural reality, and everything is there. So the idea that there is an event called liberation and that someone can be liberated, that's of course a story. There just is no such thing. I'm not in another state than the chair or the floor or anything. That doesn't exist. That is a dream, that there are states, and that there are states that are better. And I mean the first state, so to speak, that the person believes itself to be is I'm now here, as an ongoing reality. And then the idea that on top I can be in the right way, that the answer is not only in me being, but in me being happy, or in me feeling, but that there is a state at all, that there is an ongoing reality that one can be aware of. That is the illusion, and it's not happening. So there is no ongoing state. And in a way, of course, the person is constantly frustrated because it doesn't manage to be in that ongoing state. Of course, it can't be, because it's a pure illusion. That there is something ongoing that is able to know itself. And liberation also doesn't exist, and it is not such a state. There is no ongoing reality here that I'm aware of or that I know. Not even presence, so to speak, not even my own presence. But all those ideas about ongoing contentment or being enlightened or being liberated, for the person this all sounds like a state that is ongoing. And it's ongoing and someone knows it. And that's just not the case. It's a dream, it's an illusion. In that sense, there is no such thing as liberation at all, or enlightenment, or whatever. That's already within a story. And of course, sometimes we talk about it like that, the collapse of the me and stuff like that, but there is no one in the first place, and there is no one who is liberated, or enlightened, or in any kind of state. And of course, this first state, I'm a me, already isn't an ongoing reality. It only feels like that. And I mean, it's a story now, but it's funny. If there would be the illusion to be someone for 1 minute a day, in this 1 minute it would feel as if, well, I exist. I'm alive since 40 years. This sense of existence, which is actually the sense of eternity, just belongs to this sense of presence. In this moment it feels as if there is something that's real and existing, which is the idea of ongoing, so to speak. But it's not stable, It's not real at all. So nothing is in a state, and liberation too is not a state. There is no such thing. But no one knows what 20 people sitting in Asheville is.
True.
And that's why also no one knows what unconditional love is, because this is unconditional love. The natural reality is unknown and inexperienced. It doesn't even know about itself being the natural reality. That's the thing. I say it again, 20 people sitting in a classroom doesn't know about itself existing even. It just is this. But this in totality doesn't say about itself, well, I'm 20 people sitting in a classroom in Asheville, and I can experience how that is in totality. Impossible. So how this is, what this is unknown already. It's just a dream. This notion that the person lives in, well, I know what this is. Of course, I know what this is. Oh, no, it has nothing to do with what this actually is and how it actually is. No connection at all. And the person goes on living in this dream of, I know what it is, I know how the world is and functions, and I know that that's a chair and there's a classroom, and it's a completely illusory. So yeah, unconditional love is unknown, the natural reality is unknown, what seems to be happening is unknown, because this is all the same no thing. And it's alright, there's nothing wrong with that, and that's just how it is. Yes, there is no sense of continuity here. The sense of continuity is an illusion, but it's really impossible to describe that, because if it could be described, it would be a continuity, it would be a continuous state that is somehow. So, discontinuity, or they are not being something, experiencing continuity can't be explained, or it can't even be described. So, it's impossible. But of course, there is no ongoing happening. And there is nothing here that is in an ongoing state. It's a dream. Continuity is a dream. And it's only this impression that I'm here observing something that projects this sense of I exist onto everything else. Nothing has any experience to be something that goes on, except this illusion of I am. And that this is going on is illusory. Not even this is going on, really. And in a way, also there's a lot of spiritual teachings that say, if you want to know if you still exist, just have a look if there is still awareness. And of course the person will always find itself and conclude from that I must be eternal. But it's also only when it looks at itself that it has the impression, oh yeah, it's true, I'm still aware. Same with the sun. It looks at the sun and it projects the sense of reality and continuity on it. And on the other way around, the person would say, this proves that I'm living in a real world. But when the sense of me, when the sense of reality and continuity, I exist, I'm present, collapses, nothing proves continuity, nothing proves reality. This apparent classroom, so to speak, doesn't prove that it exists when there is no one watching at it. It's only this illusion of self-awareness that believes itself to live in the body, which would say, oh yeah, there is a real body, I'm aware of it. I can confirm that there is a real body because I'm aware of it. The living body doesn't know that it exists. It can have that thought, which would be an empty information, or it wouldn't have this impression to be something that is separate from everything else, and that really exists. It's funny, it's so unexpected that this whole sense of reality, the whole assumption that there is a now and a huge universe around it, that there is an existence at all, only happens for the small me which says, I'm here. And this whole experience of reality, that there is a real existence, that there is this huge universe or whatever, it can just collapse in an instant, because this whole impression of reality was just and only part of this illusion. It had never a real foundation. It was never based on a truth. Kind of, there is an existence, there is that. No, never. All right, I guess that's it. So there's no message, there's no teaching. There's absolutely nothing to take home with. No conclusion, no suggestion, no knowledge at all. All there is what seems to be happening, and it's naturally whole and complete. It's timelessly itself. That's all there is.